Hi guys, Owen from Even Star. Hope everybody out there is really. The topic is the fast way to well-being. This is something that I am pretty passionate about, having had some personal experience with it. So it's all about intermittent fasting tonight. And I wanted to be able to give you as much information as I can is in a little short live video, and there will be a blog as well available, because I think it's really important. This is something that I'm sure you've heard about all over the media. It's been around for a number of years as a popular thing to do, but you may still have questions, and that may be preventing you from actually taking action or knowing if this is something that might be good for you to do. And that's what I always want my clients and my tribe to avoid. So I'd like you to have the information you need to be able to make a decision and take action. So if you have ever wondered about it, what does it all mean? What do you do? What can you eat? Is it for you? Then this is the live session for you. And make sure you let me know if you're on. I will try and stay aware of that. I'm still getting used to Facebook Live, but we'll see how we go. So I wanted to start by, I guess, making the point that about 65% of Australians are either overweight or obese, Australian adults that is. And so this is certainly something that perhaps could be considered by a lot more of the population than it is at the moment. And it almost seems like it's trendy to be overweight in Australia and in America at the moment, but it's actually a really, really major health concern. And really you just need to think about the fact of how many obese elderly people do you see around? Not many at all. And that's because basically people who are very overweight do not have a happy, healthy, long life. There are so many health problems associated with being overweight, and that is mental and emotional health concerns as well as the obvious physical ones. So it's really something that I think that we need to do everything we can as a society to support people through changing their lifestyle to be able to become more healthy and be well, as I always say. So, so basically what is intermittent fasting? So I'm just going to call it fasting from now on for the sake of saving a bit of time with repeating that long phrase all the time. So when I say fasting, I'm now going to be talking about intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting is basically a way of eating, which means that you separate times when you eat and times when you don't eat. So it's not a diet in terms of restricting what types of food you can eat, although I would certainly say that if you do take this up, please, please, please try to eat really healthy foods when you are eating. Whole foods from the earth are always going to be the best thing for your body. So intermittent fasting, basically there's three different ways that people do it. Either there's the 5-2 diet, which has been very popular for a number of years, where basically you have 5 days of the week where you eat normally, and then you have 2 other days of the week where you fast. And what that means for those 2 days of the week is basically you only consume about 25% of the calories that are the recommended amount of calories for you. So for most people, this is about 500 to 600 calories, although I believe that Michael Mosley, who invented this way of fasting, has actually upped the number of calories to about 700 to 800 for most people now. Anyway, it's a drastically reduced number of calories for those 2 days. The second way of intermittent fasting is doing what is called the 16-8. So this is where for each day you're counting a number of hours, and for 16 hours of the day you are fasting and you do all your eating within the other 8 hours of the day. So basically most people do this by really effectively not eating breakfast, so not starting their eating for the day until later into the day. And then the last way is called Eat, Stop, Eat. And this is where you basically fast for 24 hours a few times a week. So 2 to 3 times a week, or 1 to 3 times a week, depending on how much weight you want to lose, how quickly. And this method means that basically you'll eat dinner one night and then you will not eat again until dinner the next night. So you've kind of got about 24 hours between eating. So they're the 3 ways of doing it, and different ways work better for different people. So why is it so good? Why does it work so well in terms of weight loss? Intermittent fasting or fasting basically, has a really big impact on hormones and how they are released and used in the body. So the key things are, let me just get my list of hormones that are affected by fasting. So it increases your level of growth hormone, and what this does is actually improves the way the body uses fat, reduces fat, and also increases muscle. So it's like the bodybuilder's dream. Fasting also decreases insulin, which again makes the storage of fat or stored fat more accessible for the body to use, and it increases norepinephrine, which means that you again burn more fat. So then so we've got all these things which are increasing the fat burning going on in the body, increasing the calorie burning going on in the body, and on top of that, you are also, of course, not eating as many calories. You're not eating as much, spending as much time eating, so therefore you're eating less calories. So the maths works out that you're taking less in and taking more out at the same time, therefore, boom, rapid weight loss can occur. So this is obviously not the only benefit of intermittent fasting though, and if it was, it certainly wouldn't be something that I'd be so big on. But why I also think it's so wonderful is that there are many, many other benefits for your body and for your overall well-being with fasting. When you think about it, human beings have been fasting forever. So obviously for religious or spiritual reasons, there are many practices where fasting is part of that. But basically, if we take it right back, even not so long ago, there often wasn't food available consistently all the time in consistent quantities, and people just got used to not eating. So that's something, I guess, in modern day that we are so used to having food accessible to us all the time in the modern Western world. And unfortunately, a lot of that food is really cheap and really bad. And so we can just eat all the time. And we do. Okay. So then I guess the other main question then is, wow, this all sounds, oh, sorry, I wanted to actually tell you what those benefits are. So there have been a number of scientific studies into this. There needs to be more, and a lot of the studies have been done on animals. Obviously, doing human studies is quite challenging for the scientific community, but benefits that have been found are things like increases in metabolism. So again, that's going to help with your weight loss. Increased cellular repair. So this is really important. So basically, it does actually allow the thing that has been found to increase is actually the cells cleaning themselves, which is called autophagy. And this is a really important process that if we don't get enough sleep and we are eating all the time, our system never gets a chance to actually, for those cells to clean themselves. Increased longevity. Increased immune function, so including protection against serious illnesses such as cancer and heart disease. Increased insulin resistance, so that's of course protecting against diabetes. Reduced inflammation, and inflammation basically is the underlying cause of many, many chronic illnesses that are becoming more and more prevalent in today's society. And also improved brain health, so including at the more, I guess, the lower, less important level of just having a clearer head. That other studies have found more important things such as improvement in people with Alzheimer's and things like that when they fast. So very important stuff as well. So are there any reasons not to take up intermittent fasting? Unfortunately, of course, the answer is yes. There is no magic pill that is going to work for everybody for any illness or any wellbeing concern. So I guess the things, what I would say is, if you are considering taking up intermittent fasting, I would certainly recommend that you get advice from a health professional, from your naturopath, from a nutritionist, or from your GP, someone who knows your exact personal situation and can talk to you about that with knowledge of what is going to work for you and whether it's a good idea, whether there are any risks for you because of your medical history. If you do have a history of being very underweight, or you have a history of eating disorders, then this is not a recommended way to go about losing weight or improving your well-being. Also, there have been studies that have found that it is less beneficial for women because women have much more variable levels of hormones, and it does affect our hormone production and secretion so much. It cannot work so well for women. It can really mess up the hormones. So especially if you're a woman, please consult a health professional, and especially if you have a history of imbalanced hormones, it may not be the best way to go. So what else did I want to say? I guess the only other thing that I did want to share with you is that as I mentioned at the start, I do have personal experience with this. I did do the 5-2 diet myself for about, I think I did it for about 18 months. I'm actually struggling to remember now. I kind of started doing it because a woman I was working with had amazing weight loss, and at the time, and I really can't remember exactly why, but I kind of wanted to lose about 5 kilos, and I thought, oh, well, I'll give that a go. I will not lie to you, I did find it pretty challenging doing those 2 days of fasting, especially to start with. It was not fun. I did not look forward to those days. I would always have one of my fasting days as Monday, because Monday's a pretty crap day anyway. And certainly probably after about 3 to 4 months, the weight loss that I had was noticeable. Probably then about 6 months after that, or, you know, after about 6 months or 12 months or something, you know, I'd lost probably 7 to 8 kilos. I didn't actually weigh myself before I started, so I don't know exactly, but I had lost a significant amount of weight, and I was below what I'd always thought of as being my ideal weight. And a few people who were close to me told me not to lose any more weight. So at that time, I reduced my fasting regime, and I moved to just 1 day of the 500 calories a day. And then I did another day in the week where I made sure I was well under 1,500 calories for that day. So I just called it my low calorie day. And that sort of worked pretty well for me. And I kind of, the 1,500 calorie day, I did that by kind of doing a bit of a 16-8 thing. I would not eat breakfast until sort of late in the morning. Would be the first time I'd eat. So that's really how I managed that. Then I became fully self-employed, working from home, and decided, oh, I think it's just going to be really tricky to do that fasting when I don't have all the distractions of being in a workplace with other people. So I moved to just doing 2 low-calorie days. I probably did regain 1 kilo or 2 when I did that. But a few months after I started doing that, I watched That Sugar film, which I would highly recommend. You might have heard me suggest that before. If you still haven't done it, make sure you watch it. And after I watched that, I gave up sugar. And at that point, I stopped doing any fasting, and I stopped counting calories, because I guess, you know, I was just avoiding all those empty calories of sugar. Not that I had a really hugely sugar-infested diet, but I guess all those processed foods and just things where you think, oh, those low-fat yogurt that in fact has heaps and heaps of sugar in it. And I just found I didn't need to fast anymore. And then a few months later, I then also really reduced my red meat consumption. And then, yeah, probably around the same time, I also started doing vegetarian about probably 50% of the time. So now I am very much a flexitarian. I don't eat much red meat at all. I don't eat sugar except for special occasions, and I also don't count calories. And I can still fit into the clothes I bought when I had lost my biggest amount of weight doing the 5-2. And I'm really happy, healthy, fit, strong, able to do everything I want to do and enjoy life. And I absolutely have always loved eating, and I now really, really value the whole foods diet that I have totally embraced, and really have a phobia of now eating things that I know are not good for me, that are doing harm to my body. So I really hope that's been helpful. I did want to share my personal part of it as well. So if you've made it all the way through to the end of that, good on you. If you have any questions, then please do let me know. And I look forward to talking to you again next week. In the meantime, please be well. Bye.